You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good day and welcome to the Mushy Moment for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. You're stuck with me today. Cindy had some stuff come up. She couldn't make it in. So you got me. And I like darts and maybe three people. The three other people I play darts with. Just kidding. We're going to welcome you here today. And I'm going to kick in right to the podcast because I'm kind of boring without somebody out here to talk to. So I'm going to welcome to the stage Marc Caron from the Spirit Plant Medicine Conference, and we'll get discussing that exciting conference right away. Good day, sir. How are you?
Hey, Steve. How are you? I'm well. Oh, always a pleasure to be on your program.
Yeah. Normally, we've got Cindy out here who, keeps everything flowing really nicely. Because what happens is when you get talking, I'll be like this and I'll be listening and watching and forgetting that I'm the host.
I like to think of these things always as a, casual, conscious conversation. So let's just see where it goes.
I'm liking that.
Not here, but hey.
So we've both been getting ready for the Spirit Plant Medicine Conference coming up.
Yes, we have. It's we're 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I actually love it. This is the third one showing up as a vendor, and I gotta say, it's honestly it's a high point of my year. I really look forward to these. The people that are at them, the vendors, the knowledge you get, the speakers that you guys have, the presenters are just, there's so much to be gained by attending this. It's absolutely massive. And for me, it's literally a high point of my year.
Well, thanks for that, Steve. It's always a passion project for Stephen and I as we pull it together every year. And, it's one of those things, what I take to heart, and, I'm not saying it to brag or to promote or sell or anything of that nature, but, when the Mark Haydens of the world, the Paul Stamets, the Dennis McKennas, the Jamie Wheels, when they, these are people who've been to conferences all over the world. Chris Beisch, we just had him on our show a couple of weeks ago, and he said the same thing where it's, one of, if not their favorite psychedelic conference that they attend. And coming from, these luminaries that travel the world and going to different conferences, it's really, some powerful words, and I'm always grateful for their experience. So we do like to do things a little bit differently for sure. And I think it's one of the things that make us unique.
I find it, I find that there's a lot of magic that happens there. There's, everybody seems to be grateful to be there and to be able to share and listen. Like everybody's there for the purpose of expanding the knowledge. And it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that makes it somewhat unique is just the community and the people that do attend the conference. It's not just, scientists and doctors and therapists. We bring indigenous voices, we bring shamanic voices, we bring many different people together, and not just as speakers, but as participants and as vendors. So it's for everybody. And community, as we know, is something that heals us. It's, we see it in addiction studies. We see it in many different things where, human beings are, community beings, tribal, if you want to use that word, where, we rely on each other, where teamwork makes the dream work, where, it takes, like that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And in the world today, we've been so separated and so fragmented in so many different ways of values and beliefs and woke culture. And what's happening in the world today is really unfortunate when everybody just wants to get along. Everybody wants to be part of something. Yet, the separation, I think, lends to sometimes a little bit of our own identity or whatever that might be. Though, at this event, it's everybody comes together, and it's really, we treat it as a ceremony, not just a conference. It's something that I think is important, because we do our best to practice what's been taught over the years, or creating a sacred container, set and setting, intention, mutual respect. And I think that's what the world is looking for. The biggest thing I think that comes up in so much of the work I've been doing is authenticity. And it's creating a space where people feel safe to literally be themselves, to pull all the masks off, not just the first couple, but all of them, so that we can be our true authentic self and know that, we're not going to be judged, or we're not going to be, ostracized or anything of that nature. So it's about creating that kind of safe, sacred space that I think is really important in everything that we do now, not just conference or events, but, whether it be parties or gatherings or whatever that is to really have that, radical acceptance of each other and ourselves, right?
Yes. Yeah. I like that you also said in there about ceremony, because that was something that I noticed about, your guys' event, is when there's things happening, there is ceremony around it, and it brings the ceremony with each, aspect of the different medicines, and it adds reverence to the medicines, which is something that has kind of gotten lost in society these days. It's more pop a pill and there's you've got to have gratitude that you have the ability to heal. You've got to have gratitude that this is here and available, and we can find them. There's such a wide range of medicines, from the pharmaceuticals and synthetics right through to the natural plants. And the one thing I found coming to your event was, if you want to find anything out about the natural plant aspect of healing, you can find it at this event. One thing you didn't mention was you also have herbalists there. You've got mycological people there. You've got nutritional people there. And it's great, because the synergy of speaking with the various people in the different categories of their knowledges brings it all together, so that when people walk out of there, they've got the best of both worlds. They know what they need to do to medicate symptoms, and now they can start working on healing the issues. And this conference, I find it's top shelf. It really is. I go in there and I go, this is really well done. As an audio guy, I've worked a lot of shows, and even as production wise, I watch the production of the event and I go, this is really, I haven't bothered jumping in because I haven't seen anywhere you need help from me.
Well, it's good to know, because if we need help, I know where to go.
No, you guys run a really good show, and just an opportunity from our end. I John and I get a table there and work as vendors, and Cindy comes and helps us out and whatnot. And from our end, I want to say thank you to all the helpers you get. because you have so many volunteers there that are helping everything go. And they've all been more than gracious. Anytime I've had interactions with any of them, they've all been more than gracious. You have a great team, and I just want to give you a kudos and the team because they really deserve it.
Well, yeah, and a big shout out to the volunteer team, and not just for this conference, though this is our big one every year, but for all volunteers who help in any which way. It's being in service, whether you're volunteering in an event, a soup kitchen, a church, whatever that is. It's one of those great quotes. I love, the secret to living is giving, to being of service. And you were talking about gratitude and being grateful just a couple of minutes back, which I think is great timing because we just came through the Canadian Thanksgiving long weekend. And Thanksgiving isn't just about having a day off or a stat holiday. It's about giving thanks and being grateful. And, sometimes we think, we've got it so terrible in today's world, yet we've got it better than, man has in history in many, many different levels. Because I think some could argue because of the busyness and the craziness of the world today, but, there's being in Canada for many of us Canadians. I'm super grateful for, the military folks, people who give service and things in those areas, because I've never seen that. I've never experienced that or grown up with it. I have many friends, and I know a lot of people and heard many stories of people who have immigrated here from overseas and the things that they've lived through and gone through. We may think we have it bad, but we don't. We may have some challenging situations in life, though I think it's important to take that step back and ask ourselves, what are we grateful for? How does that make me feel? What else can I be grateful for? And, which comes back to that whole spirit of giving and volunteerism, which I do a lot in the events world and have in the past in the Tony Robbins community. And I know what it's like, and I value and respect and appreciate volunteers on all levels in every aspect, because, when you're doing it for the right reasons, to help and to serve, to learn and to grow, life changes. And I'm always just grateful for the team that comes together every year.
Yes. Every time I've been there, it's been a great team. I'm always impressed.
Awesome.
In fact, I've never left with a disappointment.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing to have on our side, right?
That is. It's like, because I'm there as a vendor, but I'm also awestruck with the speakers you get. Last year meeting Gabor Mate and meeting Paul Stamets. Those are check marks on my bucket list. So I'm also that starry-eyed kid that's in there, and from both levels, as a participant vendor and a participant starry-eyed kid. Levels, I find that it's really well organized.
Thanks, man. Stephen does a great job of procuring and bringing in unique guests, and the landscape of this, let's call it the psychedelic renaissance, because that's kind of what people are referring it to. There's a lot of the old school pioneers, such as Gabor Mate, Dennis McKenna, Paul Stamets, Wade Davis, who've been, known about and sharing this information for decades. And now there's so much more. There's so much research coming out. There's, I see the youth coming into this movement a lot and sharing their wisdom. The indigenous voices are being more and more vocal and sharing about their traditions and the histories and uses of these medicines. And I think it's important to acknowledge the ancient traditions, not just the science, because even before we came live, Steve, we were talking about, how, shamans and so many of these, call them medicine people, medicine men, medicine women throughout the ages, how they knew what they were doing without necessarily the science behind it. And that's always been profound to me when I look at things in that nature, because the plants are talking to them and they're listening, they're paying attention, they're going to nature as medicine versus, the pill. And you're talking about that earlier, people just looking to take that pill and fix everything. Doesn't matter what medicine you're doing, you still got to do the work, and love is one of the most powerful medicines, as well as nature. Nature, in my opinion, is the best pharmacy. And one thing I thought was really interesting, we had an event years ago, and it was a Buddhist, I believe he might have been a monk, but he was certainly a Buddhist teacher. He'd done his work. And Stephen Gray had asked the question to him about psychedelics and healing and all of those things. And he said something that I never forgot. And he said, it's not, the person you're working with that's healing you. You always got to be careful of those people because you end up doing your own healing. And it's not necessarily the plants or the medicine or the psychedelic. He says it's consciousness heals. It's when we expand our consciousness and we open up the different energy fields. He says that's where the healing really begins and can be very profound and instantaneous. What he did say, though, was in regards to these plants as medicines, these are tools to help us expand our consciousness, to kind of get us past that monkey mind, that reptilian brain that's stuck in our dharmic ways or our conditioned thoughts, and it pushes our consciousness past that so it can be open and connect to nature and come into a oneness consciousness, or what some people might call Christ consciousness or Krishna consciousness, or whatever that may be. But it's when that starts happening and shifting where the ultimate healing begins. And that takes still talk about doing the work, because it doesn't matter what you do. You could have the most profound experience in a weekend retreat or ceremony. Yet if you just go back to your Monday to Friday 9 to 5 and do the exact same thing you've always done, what did you learn?
Fall back to the same pattern, and yeah.
Right. So I think it's always important when, to have the intention. What is it you're looking to get, solve, cure, whatever that may be, whatever healing you're looking for, to know what that is and to be prepared for something outside of that. Because so often people come here expecting and looking for one thing, and they get that, and they get even so much more that they didn't know they were coming for. And I think that that's the important part. And then we have to integrate those messages, those learnings into our lives. And that can take time. But it's the small shift that you make consistently over time that creates the biggest change, the biggest result, the biggest cure, whatever word you want to put into that.
Which is interesting, because that's part of the frustration that most people that are walking the healing path, because it really is just small little steps, slow and steady. But everybody's looking for that big moment. But yet, in my pathway, I find that if I want to see the big moment, I have to turn around and look behind me. Because then I see, oh my God, I'm 3/4 of the way up the mountain. I'm not at the bottom looking up. I'm way up there looking down. But each step was just this tiny little step, looking just right for the next step. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh wow, this has been a massive change in where I am.
Yeah, beautifully said. It's one of my, I love little quotes and one-liners because I find them powerful and inspiring. Less words are always better, but it's that one: progress, not perfection. Always be making progress, because happiness comes when you're making progress. If you're not making any kind of progress, even how little it is, you'll tend to be a lot more dissatisfied. But if you're making a little bit of progress each and every day, is better than making no progress or tons one day and then nothing for the next month, or a year. And that's why it's consistency, and Jamie Wheel said it a number of years ago when he spoke, and he was talking about how often should one work with psychedelic medicines, who should be working with psychedelic medicines, and what psychedelic medicines should you be working with. And, part of that was, not every medicine's for everybody, so you got to find your medicine. Some people will do it once, change their lives, and never go back to it. Some people start doing it regularly, and some people might make it like a quarterly or, twice a year or every couple of years. So it's not something that is to be taken lightly, where the more you do, the more you'll heal. It doesn't work that way, because everybody's different. You have to listen to your body, and you have to listen to the plants and do the work. That's the bottom line. You got to do the work.
Yes, and it doesn't matter which of the plants it is. The plants. From my own personal experience, because I've done a few of the medicines, and in doing the medicines, I find they all speak a different language. They all speak a language of healing, but they have some subtle and some profound differences in the way they speak. Some are really loud, and some are a little quieter. And if you're myself, because of my CPTSD, subtle wasn't something I heard. I heard it when it got loud. If it got loud enough, because my world was loud, and hearing down here, if you were hinting, I didn't hear it. So I apologize to everybody in my life for the last years for not hearing you when you were subtly trying to tell me something. But if you only hear from a certain level up, then you need a louder medicine. Right? Something like the ayahuasca or the iboga or the DMT. I find that mushrooms, beautiful, because you can use them in the microdose and slowly build the relationship. There's a few different types. So you can start with something soft, build the relationship, learn the language, switch over. The language between the mushrooms isn't that different. Right? A little bit different dialects. This guy speaks a little louder. You need something that speaks louder. There's some penis envy over here. You need something a little softer. There's golden teachers here. So you can fit in and learn the language of psychedelics, up your journeys till you've had ones where you know what you're in for if you have a profound experience, and then go start talking to the other ones. You'll find the one that is waiting for you to come and find it. But I agree, not all of them are for everybody, and depending on the person's trauma, you might have to go through a few to get all the messages.
Yeah, and again, responsible use. Sit with people who are familiar, with people who know, who've got experience, because knowing the journey certainly makes a difference. And I love what you said there too, because you're absolutely right. We call that feather brick truck. You can get tickled by a feather, and some people will pay attention and get it and see what's going on and make a change. Some people won't. Then the brick comes out, you got to hit them with a brick, and some people are whatever, and they don't get it. And then some people go, oh, now I hear you. And then sometimes you got to get hit by that truck before it makes a difference. And that's why I think, some of the deeper dives and the proper set and setting really help you get out of your own way. And that's how I see these medicines. Because, I've worked, with coaching, the process, or what we call it is referred to as strategic intervention. And there's lots that can be done. Just from a psychology point of view, from a physiological point of view, from a language and meaning point of view. Yet if we're never getting out of our own way, if we're not being able to become the observer of ourselves, it's really becomes more difficult to make that change. And then, the big deeper dive pushes you out of the way. It's like that truck that, really moves you so that you can see beyond yourself. And I think it's a really great practice to become the observer and to be able to watch yourself and then be the voice that controls yourself. Because who's really controlling you? Is it your mind? Is it your ego? Is it the voice in your head? Is it you? Are you making conscious choice? And that's what I think is really important, where people have to wake up to logic, common sense, and know that you're in control of your life, and you can make a choice, you can make a decision at any given time. in a heartbeat, and you can change your life. You can change the lives of others, for good or for bad. So choose wisely, of course. And, so many of us have never really consciously chosen what we value and believe. It's just been conditioned and ingrained upon us, from our family, from culture, from society, school, religion, whatever that is in our environment. We kind of adapt things. And the day I started realizing that and starting to choose what I value consciously, who am I? What do I believe? What do I value? You can show up in the world in a very different way. And, it's like that, another one-liner is you can't change what you don't acknowledge, and so many people, they want stuff, but they're not acknowledging what needs to change. And that awareness, which is consciousness at its foundation, being aware of what's going on around you. These are the things that I find the medicines really helpful. And, when you talk mushrooms, the power of the mycelium network and neurogenesis, and not just psychedelic mushrooms. We're talking lion's mane, turkey tail, cordyceps, chaga. These superfoods are incredibly powerful medicines, and not all plant medicines need to be psychoactive or psychedelic. Ashwagandha, shilajit, there is a plethora, and I'm not even going to pretend that I'm an expert. I just know enough to be dangerous.
I'm just going to say you're naming a whole bunch of stuff in our products.
But it's true, right? Plants are medicine, and when we look in nature, and this is one of the things, not that I mean to talk politics or anything, but I love what RFK is doing about making, America healthy again. And, it's the same as Canada. You take a look at what's in our food nowadays. We're being poisoned from the outside in.
Oh, and yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
The more we can wake up to that as a society and demand to not have it. We have the ability, we have the resources. Why do we put so much crap in our food? Well, the conspiracy theorists can talk to you all day about that. But one of them that we know is true is shelf life. Shelf life and preservation, so things last longer. But why do we need things? And it's interesting. You take a look at some products that are sold here in North America, and you look at their equivalent product in other parts of the world, they don't have half that crap in it.
Oh yeah, because we go for the bright food dyes. We go for we put a lot of things in there for the sales factor, the wow factor. But those things aren't good for us. They're actually, a lot of them, like the dyes, they're crippling for us. Same with a lot of the preservatives that they put in there. They're crippling.
Oh, you start reading the labels. It's scary. And the nice thing I like about something like mushrooms is you can go pick those out here in the forests of British Columbia. You can get all.
I did, and I made my first forage mushroom soup.
Nice.
That was the first one. I utilized my friend Jennifer out in Jennifer Chandler out in Nova Scotia. I'd send her pictures. I go, I think this is this. Am I right? And she'd go, yes, you are correct. And it would go in the bag. And so I came home. I had chanterelles and bolettes and amanitas.
Beautiful, yeah. And this is something I think we need to be teaching in school more to the younger generation, is how to grow your food, sustainable foods, healthy foods, how to forage and find things out, just naturally. Lori Snyder, one of our friends, I don't know if you know Lori, she's a naturalist, and she'll walk around neighborhoods and she'll blow your mind with the plants that are medicinally great to consume. Dandelion is one of them that, we treated as a weed because we needed something for Roundup back in the day, yet it's one of the most, powerful flowers and plants out there, the dandelion root and things. It's incredible. The greens, all of it. And yet here we are treating it like a weed.
I eat them.
Colonialism at its best, I guess.
On that note, we're hitting that time period. We got to let our sponsors have our break, let our sponsors show their beautiful products and keep this show going. So hang on, people. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. And thank you.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and in the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One's called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with, and then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Good day and welcome back to the Mushie Moment here on paceradio.net. We're here with Marc Caron from the Spirit Plant Medicine Conference, discussing the Spirit Plant Medicine Conference and medicine.
Always a pleasure to be here, Steve. I always appreciate our conversations. And, I think, it's time to start educating ourselves even more and, getting these medicines to the people who need them.
And on that beautiful segue, I'm going to, because I've got my little list, not showing people that I've got it right here, but some of the presenters this year. You've got Rick Doblin, right?
Founder of MAPS. Incredible. I didn't know a lot about him. I know who he is and what he does, and I know he's a busy guy out there. And we had an opportunity to have him on our show a couple of weeks ago, and just brilliant man. The things that he knows and his experience and what he's gone through in this journey of MAPS over the years was an incredible story. So I look forward to meeting him in person and hearing what he has to share, for sure.
Nice. Because, I'm excited there too. And then you've got Mary Sanders.
Yeah, we spoke with her too. Beautiful light. She she had a lot to share from her perspective. Again, we did a lot of pre-conference shows ourselves, and Mary Sanders, yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting these folks, because as I was talking earlier, there's so many new people that, and maybe they're not new to other people in the world, but they're new to us. And new to me. So I always love these refreshing voices, for sure.
Shall we bring up another one? Jamie Wheel.
Oh, well, Jamie Wheel, what can you say about that guy? Brilliant, his books, Stealing Fire, and he's going to be here. This year he's not able to make it in person. He had something come up, but he is going to do a video presentation. So, we're always excited to have Jamie as one of our supporters as well.
And then one of my favorites, you've got Acacia Lewis coming in again.
Yeah, well, Acacia, this young woman is brilliant. She was introduced to our community last year. We had the chance, you and I, to meet and spend some more time with her at the Unicorn Music Festival in the summer.
She blew my mind. She blew my mind. That lady is absolute brilliance.
The wisdom that she has to share is incredible. So I look forward to meeting her and seeing her again and hearing what she has to share, for sure.
What about the Chris Bosch?
Sorry, who?
Christopher Bosch.
Oh, Christopher Bosch. Yeah, well, again, brilliant. He's been part of our conference a number of times, and he, the courage to do 72 high-dose journeys of LSD and what he brings back and what he shares. I just recommend everybody read his book, Mind of the Universe.
It's easier than doing the acid.
Yeah, well, I asked him. I've asked him many times, and I asked him again the other day, and I said, what would you tell people who are curious and seeking and want to learn and know and do more? What would that be? And he said, don't do it. Which I thought was interesting, right? So, but, it's not an easy journey, and his commitment for what he did and the way he looked at the work is from the perspective of a philosopher and being a professor of religious studies, brilliant. And what he's brought back to share with the world is quite incredible. So, definitely check out his work, whether it's at the conference or anywhere. He's brilliant.
Wow. And then Erica Dick.
Yeah, well, Erica Dick was a new addition. I don't know a lot about her, but she's going to be speaking about the psychedelic resurgent and the historical lessons for the future. She's a history professor and Canadian research chair in the history of health and social justice at the University of Saskatchewan. So, I'm looking forward to what she brings to the table as well, because, again, a lot of these folks, I'm not as familiar with their work, which for me is exciting because I know I'm going to learn something new.
And I like that, she's Canadian. She's coming in from a different part of the country and not an area I'm familiar with. So, she'll have stuff that pertains to that area and, the cultures in that area as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Sandor Iron Rope?
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting Sandor tomorrow because we're doing a program with him at 3:00. But I know he's a member of the Tetuan Lakota Oyati and the Oglala Lakota spiritual leader from the Pork Mine District, and does a lot of work with peyote is his medicine. He's part of the Native American Church, and they're doing a lot of work with peyote preservation as well, because we know that peyote has its challenges in terms of harvesting because it's such a slow grower. And, when these medicines become commodified, they get, the
decimated. And then they need people to come in and save them.
Exactly. And, cannabis is one thing because it grows a full cycle in a season, yet it takes years and years and years for a peyote cactus to mature. So it's really important that any harvesting is done correctly, and they do a lot of work with that. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that as well. So I look forward to what he has to share. And again, another wonderful Indigenous voice coming to the table.
I'm always blown away in the presentations when they start showing the areas where they've, where they're guarding peyote that's been there for many years. And you just see these incredibly beautiful works of art that are also medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful little cactus, that little button. I've got some I got from Don Blakey, and, they haven't grown much in 5 years, but they're healthy and well. And you can see, takes a long time for them to grow.
What have you got about Sutton King?
I don't know much about Sutton King except for what it says on our website. I know that she's, First Nations Afro-Indigenous descent of the Menominee and Oneida Nation of Wisconsin, and she's a graduate of the New York School of Global Public Health. I'm always look forward to what these folks have to share, because again, they're out of my wheelhouse, and this is where Stephen does his research when he's choosing his speakers to get some powerfully diverse people who have unique messages, so we're not just kind of sharing the same information, of course.
Well, I'm looking forward to this. This is great, because I'm not like I went through it and I've noticed you've got a whole bunch of the newer breed that I would say that's coming in. It's like, oh, it's nice to see a lot of the younger people coming in, not just through the medicine and tradition, but also they're doing the study of science on it and coming, it's the merging of traditions and shamanism and, the history with what we've got going with science and technology. And,
absolutely.
It's we're just shaping the words so that now they go like this rather than doing this. The words needed to be adjusted so they could come together, but the science and the message is all like that already, which is nice. What about Dr. Osiris Garcia? I'm going to say Cicada.
I know he works with the Shrikuna Institute, which does a lot of great work out there in the world. He's an Indigenous Mazatec historian, and I love ancient history, and I love, the ancient Mazatec things that we've learned about Aztec, about Inca, about all of the, especially the ancient South American tribes. So I'm looking forward to what he has to bring to the table. But he's definitely been, as a kid, has always been interested in the ancestral ritual use of psilocybin and things. So again,
I'm pretty excited.
A lot of new names to me, though totally looking forward to what they bring.
Well, this, like, I like this aspect. I really want to hear from him. I went, he's a historian and sociologist from Huautla de Jimenez in Oaxaca.
Yeah.
I actually had the privilege when I was down there with Lisa. We went up to Huautla and we went to the Maria Sabina Museum and we did mushrooms with her nephew and went up and sat by her shrine and did some meditation and enjoyed. And so I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say as well.
I bet.
What about Dominique Morisano?
Well, Dominique's going to be speaking about getting psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy right, the good, the bad, and the ugly. She's dual Canadian-U.S. citizen, raised in rural Connecticut, and she works as a clinical psychologist and, works with the medicines from a psychotherapy perspective. So I think it's always something to learn there, because there's one thing from a ceremonial point of view, then there's another thing to apply the psychological sciences, and I think when you combine those two, you get so much synergy for creating change in people's lives that I look forward to that one as well. I always catch most of the talks after the fact because I'm so busy during the days of the weekend that I catch the videos after the conference.
Yeah, you're generally running pretty hard.
Yes.
I'm always lucky because, we get the table where I get to stand there and just watch them go. And it's always a blessing.
It is.
What have you got on Soy Kene? How do you say that name? Soy Kene or
Soy Kene, or Sui Kene. Again, we had a chance to interview him as well and speak with him not too long ago. And really interesting guy because, he grew up like most of us North Americans, kind of, in the party scene and doing his thing. And then he got introduced to the medicines and he went on that deep dive and, found a teacher. The plants found the teacher for him. And he just went and continues learning and hosting retreats now and serving medicine. So he is I believe he studied with the Shipibo people. So I look forward to what he has to bring to the table as well.
And then we have a gentleman that I got the privilege of meeting up at the Unicorn Festival, and then Cindy and I had the opportunity to have him on the show just a few weeks ago. Although Cindy was in Mexico, so she had to watch it while John and I did the interview.
Fun. Well, Rob, I can't believe you just met Rob Laurie because I thought everybody knew Rob Laurie. Well, this guy is brilliant in the world of law. He works with a lot of the Indigenous folks in terms of what they're working on. It gets pretty deep, but he's also one of the prominent Canadian cannabis lawyers around, works with a lot of all the legal cannabis and helping people go legal and work their ways within the laws and the systems and everything else. He also, because of the psychedelic movement, he's part of that. He's one of the top fans of the conference every year. Fun guy, knows his stuff, and does a lot of really great work for people around the world, not just here locally as well. So I know he works closely with Dennis McKenna, the McKenna Academy. He was doing a lot of work with Michael Stewart Annie down south as well. So he does a lot of great work in the plant medicine world. So, and he's an advocate of the medicines because it helped him a lot. And just a fun guy. He's just so fun.
Yes,
our conference all the time.
He was a lot of fun to be around.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
What about Kelly and Josh?
Kelly and Josh are really pioneers, I think, up in the Kootenays where they're from, and they do a lot of regenerative farming, organic natural farming, and their plants as medicine, and the way that they work with themselves. They are natural. They know plants. They're just beautiful when they talk about plants as medicine. And their medicine is beautiful. Anytime you get any medicine that's grown in the dirt, under the sun, with real, rainwater and things like that, you've got a whole different plant altogether because it's grown in nature the way it's intended to be.
I've had the honor of smoking some of the bud that they've grown, and it's quite beautiful. It's always smooth and clean. You guys had it at one of the cannabis ceremonies that I attended there.
Yeah,
I believe more than one, but yeah, it was always awesome. What do you know about Jasmine Pyrozic?
I honestly, I don't know. I know she's going to be speaking about plants as people and our inherent connection. She's from the Lake of the Woods in Ontario and of Norway House Cree Nation. She lives in Kenora, and she studied at Lakehead University and includes anthropology. So again, I love ancient history, archaeology, anthropology. So I look forward to what she's going to bring to the table. And another great Indigenous voice as part of the conference, because we really want to make sure that we have enough and really honor the Indigenous voices and the wisdom that they share.
And, as we're going through this, it also shows to anybody watching, it shows the diversity, and because of the different voices, as well as the legal voices, the doctor voices, the PhDs, Kenneth Tupper, another PhD, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be a speaker at there. It's nice that you've got all the languages being represented in the field of the medicine, right from current legality right through the ancient shamanism and the science and doctors.
Yeah, well, it's important to us, and it's something that's important to the people that we've heard over the years. When I started in 2017, to have, because in the beginning it was just a bunch of old white guys, as people would say, talking about these things, because they were the pioneers. But now there's so many new voices coming out that I think it's important to bring so many people's different perspectives. And Ken Tupper, he was an adjunct professor at the School of Child and Youth Care in the University of Victoria, and he's did a doctoral research on the concept of entheogenic education. So, it's again, it's always fascinating, because when you don't necessarily know, it's one thing, Dennis McKenna, Paul Stamets, you kind of have an idea what they're talking about and who they are. But what these other people bring to the table, and it's, I don't even know what the word would be, but, people are not necessarily on the forefront of it, but who know so much because they've done so much work. And we don't always see the work that gets done before, people get to the place where they're sharing this work. But, they're not here because they know nothing. They're here because they have a valuable voice and contribution to this field of work.
What about Olivia Marcus?
Well, again, I got to plead ignorance. Stephen's a guy who knows more about her, but she's got a medical anthropology PhD from the University of Connecticut, specialized in social sciences and healthcare. So again, very educated, well-known people in their field, in their area, and now we're bringing them in to cross-pollinate into our community.
This is pretty damn awesome. I'm noticing we only have 8 minutes, so maybe we should get into some of the things like your code for people that can get a 2-for-1.
Okay, before I do that, I'm going to sum up a few of these speakers coming. We got Willow Woodsmith, part of the Wood Vibe tribe, does our altar every year. Beautiful work. He's going to be talking about what is medicine. Brilliant man, brilliant. Dr. Anya Louise Velder, she's coming, German-Mexican clinical psychologist. Marco Sanchez talks about Shipibo Cosmovision and the plant technology. Don Chabello, part of the Wixarican Nation, coming from Jalisco, Mexico. We're looking forward to him. He's a peyote carrier. Theta Phoenix, great musician, in-house for the sounds. And Sean Curtis Andrews do a great concert on the Saturday night. So that's it in a nutshell. We wrap them all up.
Thanks. I was feeling guilty about not going through each of them. Yeah. But
take one of the codes of the SPMC 22. It's SPMC 241.
Oh, did I put an extra 2 in there?
Yeah. But yeah, we want the conference to be affordable. We want it to be accessible. We're offering a 2-for-1 ticket right now with the SPMC 2-for-1. You can get general admission tickets, VIP tickets, buy one, get the second one for free, because we want you also to bring a friend. And, part of the way of sharing this work and any of the work we do is to invite others to the program. And I know this program airs, nationally and internationally. You can join us from anywhere in the world as well, because of course we do a live stream. Lots of people are doing live streams. So that's going to be on our website as well for people who sign up for that. That's the lowest point of entry. And then we also have a virtual interactive where we actually incorporate Zoom. We stream the conference into Zoom. And why we like to do this is a couple of reasons. Is A, we believe in community and connection and communication. So you're able to connect with like-minded people from around the world who join us in Zoom for this. And if enough people turn their cameras on, we make sure that we have the gallery view up in the main room so the speakers and everybody else can see you. You can interact with the Q&A as well, and you can join it from the comfort of your own home. And as a bonus, for anybody who buys tickets right now, our gift for you is a 1-year access to our membership program. And what that gives you is all the videos of all things we've ever done. And it also gives you access to replays. So not only are you getting this conference, you're getting everything we've always done as our way of giving thanks for your support and educating and sharing information on the power of these sacred medicines.
That's pretty awesome. That's a good deal. There's a lot of great videos there to watch because you video as they're presenting, and there's a lot of presentations up there. The Gabor Mate one.
Absolutely, that's a great one. Yeah.
One of Cindy's and my goals is have him on this show one day.
Well, you got to just keep asking. Right?
Wow.
But yeah, it's always incredible. It's always a great experience, and we do our best to make it affordable and accessible to anybody who wants to join. And with the censorship out there these days, and some of the things to get the word out, we've been kind of censored in some areas. So we just ask everybody, if you're interested in the power of these medicines, please share the word. Please invite people. We're about 2.5 weeks away, and we want to have a full house. We've got the space. We're doing it. We want to make sure that, if you want to be here, we want you to be there. So.
Yes. And if you can't afford a 2-for-1, or you don't have a buddy to bring along, you're just looking for one for yourself, I've got that code up here. Make sure that one's right too.
Yep, you got it.
Correct.
Yep.
So that'll get you 25% off your ticket. And let's see, any last minute things that you want to?
No, nothing specific, Steve. I just want to thank you for your work and what you do to, help make these medicines available to people. And thank you for always, reaching out and inviting us to be part of the program, and for your support. It means a lot. And if there's one thing for people is, if you're interested in these things and you're looking for a solution and nothing else has worked, there might be something here for you. Again, not necessarily for everyone. However, there are some very, very powerful benefits, even from a microdosing point of view, that can really make a difference in people's lives. So if you're a seeker, if you want to meet people in the community, if you're looking for people to work with, or if you just want to connect with like-minded people, it's certainly a great place to be. We do it every year. We're in our 13th year, and we'd be happy to have you there.
Awesome. And thank you, Mark. Thank you for coming back on the show and being a part of this. This is absolutely awesome. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing you live here in the next couple of weeks. And this is going to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be another epic one for sure.
Everybody have an awesome day, and we'll catch you next week live.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.